My mother had a saying, you know. She used to say, Trinidad and Tobago is a different kind of place. This country don't need no hero. What it really need is a Jumbie.
Numerous sightings have been reported across Trinidad and Tobago.
Anybody running around in a devil outfit have to be up to no good.
Some real shaky things does be going on.
This Jumbie character couldn't do anything if the authorities were doing the job.
Our only mission is the capture of the dangerous fugitive known as Jumbie.
Too much blood. Somebody have to do something.
Well, where I come from, Jumbie is devilting.
You have no idea.
And we play the entire thing, no interruption, no filter, and without further ado, it is time to talk to the main people responsible for that trailer. Right now we're seeing Managing Director Dixie Ann Archer-McBain and her husband, Everard, artist, animator, and author. And we want to say congratulations. So far, it's looking pretty. But you're sending it to TTT first? But welcome, thank you. I want to start off with you though, please, Everard, in terms of like the creative journey, because I saw somewhere else, you said about 2 years ago that you're self-taught. How did this creative journey get started for you?
First of all, thanks for having us. We can appreciate it. Good night to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The creative journey where our productions are concerned began in about 2013. Where my wife and I used to look at a lot of anime and a lot of movies and stuff a little while after we got married. And looking at all these cartoons reawakened in me a childhood desire to do comics and animation. And with that, we began work on our first IP, which was Self-Lux. And Self-Lux, we were able to publish our first comic in 2014, and then we wanted to create a trailer to help promote the book, and that's in 2016. So we started to shop around for animation practitioners, someone who could help us put together this trailer, and I had in my mind 80s cartoon intros. That's what I grew up on, being a child of the 80s. I wanted to create something like that for Self-Lux. So we shopped around and we got some really astronomical prices for the animation, which we couldn't afford. So I've always been a creative person, so I decided to take upon myself the challenge to teach myself how to animate. And the rest is history.
Well, we're going to get into some of that history in just a bit. But even before, no, there's a lot to unpack. But I want to get to Miss Dixie Ann now. And we're seeing the trailer for Jumbie, and you're talking about things, okay, moving from 2013 towards this point in time. But were you expecting the online reaction to Jumbie?
Oh, no, we weren't. We love to do animation. And we always produce animation, produce trailers, and then put it out there. And so we were overwhelmed by the great response to the trailer. We realized that Trinidadians really need to see our culture reflected in such a way, you know? So we were really, really overwhelmed.
I think it's a beautiful thing because at this point in time, you see the amount of people with doubles recipes and this and that. I mean, restrictions due to safety protocols have relaxed somewhat. But I think that thirst is still there to see, okay, we want something that shows us ourselves. We also want something that is of a quality. Because just because it's me, don't mean it has to be looking anyhow. So is that part of it? And how are you kind of operating within that limelight, that spotlight right now?
Um, it's crazy. I'm trying to keep calm and focus on the work of bringing the production to fruition. So, but I'm the same calm.
And with that, and trying to stay calm and focus on the work at hand, how easy is it to do? And I'll ask you, please, Everard, in terms of this husband-wife combination, getting it done. It's not as though, okay, well, here, I go into work, I go see you later. It's always this, this pairing, this communication, because yes, you're married, but you're also business partners. How does that work out with regard to something like this?
Well, thankfully, Dixie Ann and I do everything together. You know, she's my best friend, she's my support, so it was easy to move from that to a situation where we were working together on something. When I first went to Dixie Ann and told her, you know, something I always wanted to do was animation. I always wanted to create comic books. Dixie Ann didn't tell me, what big man like you want to draw comics for? That wasn't a response. She was like, well, let's do it. Let's find a way to make it happen. And so it was really easy. And we do everything together. And as I said, it wasn't a big jump, a big leap to go from what we normally do together to working together on these productions. And I always know my place. So I take advice, and I understand that the advice that I'm being given is instructions, and I just but she's without, I couldn't do it without her. I couldn't do it without it. Without Dixie Ann's support and input, and we write these stories together, none of this would be possible. None of it.
And Dixie Ann, I want to ask you for your side if you're corroborating that, because I also see you wear the title of Managing Director. So that makes me believe, I guess, what Everard is saying, that the advice, he takes the advice as loving directives. But what's your take on that? How do you see this work happening for both of you?
Well, we are partners, and he is the artist. I am the storyteller, I'm the financial manager. So we know our place in all of this. So he wants to make a comic, sure. I'll find the money, I'll put aside a real budget, and that's how we work. If you have a story, he come with his idea, and then I'll add or subtract it.
I like the fact that, and Everard spoke about it, and you speaking about it now, how can we make it work? We have about 1 minute. We might steal a little bit onto this side, but what are some of the things that you look at when you're saying, okay, well, I need to approach sponsors, or we need to have partnerships? How do you try to deal with it from that end, working towards saying, okay, well, this is what we want to see?
Well, our main goal is producing this series. And it will be done whether or not we get sponsors. But our main aim, we are trying to get sponsors. We are trying to get people to come on board, people who have a passion like us, who want to see our culture portrayed like this. We are looking for financial partners.
And we're actually going to talk about some of the plans and ways that people can contact you, engage with you, participate, partner. We'll do that on the other side of the conversation, but we are speaking with Dixie Ann Archer-McBain as well as Everard McBain, and we're talking about Jumbie. So stay with us. We come back with more. So we're getting a little idea of what was happening before Jumbie. We are speaking with Dixie Ann Archer-McBain as well as her husband, Everard McBain. And we're looking at Jumbie. What are the plans for Jumbie? Because I hear some things, I see some things. I see KSD. I'm listening to the whistle. Somebody actually spoke about the use of that jab whistle inside of the thing. So what are your plans for Jumbie? And what was the overall goal with regard to this comic series, this piece of animation?
Well, we're hoping to make Jumbie into an animated series. We already have penned out 3 seasons at 12 episodes each. And right now we are in the process of approaching potential backers, sponsors, who, as Dixie Ann said, are passionate about seeing our culture taken to the next level, you know, making folklore and our traditions palatable for a younger generation so that, you know, it could continue. So that's basically it. We currently have an open call for those who would like to be a part of the production, whether it's voice actors, musicians, song editors, graphic designers, whatever you feel. If you see the trailer for Jumbie and you think it's something you can be a part of, reach out to us. You can send your details to info@GEMGFX.com. And we'll go through all the applications and we'll reach out to them. But that's where we're at right now. We, as Dixie Ann said, we're moving ahead with production. Whether or not we get the sponsors, but it would be a whole lot easier if we were to get the sponsors.
Totally understood. And Dixie Ann, who are some of the people that you all have worked with in the past? Because for you all to get to this point, you all would have had to work with people. So who are some of those people that you've collaborated with thus far?
Well, we've worked with people at Animator, Camille Selva and Abraham. They've opened our eyes to the animation industry in this country. We've also worked with some wonderful voice actors who lent their talent to us free of charge for our previous projects. But most of all, we've just worked with each other, just fighting.
And it is a fight.
I didn't hear that partnership coming in again. But I started talking about it. Is it something that you do fully conscious, okay, well, I want to put in this element and I want to put in this element? Because our culture is so rich, our history is so rich. Deciding, okay, I'm going to use this, I'm going to use these colors, I'm going to use the whistle and in that kind of jab, triplet. Saying, okay, well, I'm going to use the donkey jawbone. How do you decide, okay, well, I'm going to use these elements. These are the things that I want to put in.
So I approach creativity by trying to think outside the box. Our culture is rich, diverse, it's vast. We have a lot of stories to tell in Tupa folklore. But traditionally, the vehicles that we have chosen to use to share these stories have not been accepted by the younger generations. If you ask anyone, any young person about the latest anime, whether it be Attack on Titan or Dragon Ball Z or any one of these, they can tell you full details about these things. But if you ask them about Trinidad and Tobago folklore, you might get a response like, that is not old people think, because it's never been put in a vehicle that they would appreciate. So we looked at all the things about our culture, and we tried to find a way to communicate it, to translate it. So Jumbie, the music, you talk about that whistle, that's landmark in Trinidad. If you're downtown Juve morning and you hear that jab jab whistle, you know what time it is. So while with a foreign movie, you will find an action scene being done to rock music or even hip hop, why not do an action scene to jab jab music, you know? So that's how we looked at all the elements that we could, and we found ways to, you know, make it relatable to a younger audience, you know?
And Dixie Ann, seeing that you're the person who gives that strong advice, in terms of those elements that Everard was just talking about, whose decision, and is there a reason behind the fact that both the protagonist and that main adversary, from what I am seeing, are female?
Well, we've both been influenced by females growing up, our mothers, sisters, aunts. So we always believe in portraying females as strong characters. So I guess that's the main reason. But I personally, the feminist in me, just love a strong female woman beating up men. That's
No, but I also appreciate.
No lies detected.
Well, and I also appreciate it because, like, I have a young lady, and we've warned the people that dolls or gifts like that come in, we want them to resemble her. Because I remember someone saying that too many people, they look into the mirror and they're disappointed with who they see because they're hoping for somebody else. So in terms of having that strong female character, and so there's somebody I'm very happy to point towards the Jumbie, as opposed to just saying, okay, well, not necessarily Dora the Explorer, but Doc McStuffing, and saying, okay, well, where are these people, where are these individuals, these images, these visuals that we can show young ladies to go forward with? But is that something that you gave some static effort, or you said, okay, we all for it?
No. When I was young, there's a story I tell. It's worn out, but I tell it all the time because it's a true story. When I was young, we talking 5 years old, I was getting licks for drawing in my copybooks in class while the teacher is on the board. I scribble in drawing Superman, Herculoids, these kind of things in my, it was my mother who went against, she used the knowledge that she had at the time, and she took me to a department store called Kirkland, and she bought me a sketch pad. And she said, when you're feeling to draw in the sketch pad, don't draw in your copybook. And that's how I started my creative journey, from way back when I was. So I have strong Black women to thank for everything in my life. And today, Dixie Ann, another strong Black woman who is supporting me in this journey that I'm on here. So I had no objections, no kick against, it was a given deal. And Jumbie is not the only strong Black female protagonist that we have. Our first book, Self-Love, the main character for that is also a strong Black female character. So it's a given, yeah.
All right, so we want to thank you so much, both Dixie Ann and Everard, for doing what you do and helping us to see ourselves in ways that we may not have imagined ourselves a little while ago. So we're looking forward to Jumbie, and hopefully we continue getting some status updates on what's happening. We're actually going to leave you with some scenes from your demo reel, in addition to saying on behalf of the entire news team, I'm DK Roster. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night.
Get ready for a deep dive. Get ready for a deep dive.